Okay, let's take a look at part B. So I'm going to zoom into part B. I'll zoom out in a second. Just want to focus on part B. Again, we are being asked to find f of 0, which just means they're telling us that x equals 0. And we already know f of 0 is 3 because we did it before. With the y-intercept, we use the function x plus 3. And we plugged in 0 for x. And that equals 3. Now let's find f of 3. And then that means x equals 3. So which function of the 3 we were given are we going to use? And let's delete this. Where is x equals 3 defined? I'll give you a few seconds to figure out which function you're going to use. Okay, so if you set the last one, you are correct. Since our x's are greater than 1 for the function negative x plus 2, we know that 3 is included in there. So we're going to use the function negative x plus 2 to find f of 3. And we are plugging in 3 for x. And that is equal to negative 1. And just in case, I'm going to write here, use f of x equals negative x plus 2. Okay, just in case you're wondering what function we used. All right, so again, we have lines. We're going to do the same thing we did in part A, find the y-intercept and the slope to help us graph. For the first line, y equals x plus 3, the y-intercept is 0, 3. The slope is 1. And let's go ahead and plot the point 0, 3, and we'll use blue for y equals x plus 3. So we start at 0, 3, right here. And then our slope is 1. That's pretty easy. So we raise 1 over 1, raise 1 over 1. And we have this line. Again, remember that we do have a domain, so we're not done. Let's go back and look at our domain. We must graph between negative 2 and 1, where negative 2 is included and 1 isn't. So I'm going to go back to my graph, actually. And here's negative 2. And here's 1. So we can only graph between negative 2 and 1. And we're going to get rid of the rest of my graph. So I'm actually going to do this. Negative 2 was included, so that's an open circle, and I believe 1 wasn't, correct. So here we're going to draw an open circle since 1 is not included. And we're going to delete the rest of our line. Oh. I'm trying to delete just that there we go, that closed circle. Okay, there we go. So there's our y equals x plus 3 graph. And again, we were only able to graph between negative 2 and 1, where negative 2 is included. Okay, next we have y equals 5. So that's an easy one. And we'll do that one in purple. Oops. Okay, so the y-intercept is 0. The y-intercept is 0, 5. Notice we don't have the mx part. Therefore, our slope is 0. Now, we really don't have to find the y-intercept and slope for y equals 5 because at this point, you should know that it's a horizontal line. So y equals 5 looks just like this. And I have to look at my domain. I already forgot what it was. So y equals 5 is only defined for x equals 1. So we're actually going to get rid of the entire graph, and it's only defined there at x equals 1. So it's just a point. Next, we have y equals negative x plus 2, where the slope is negative. Oops, it's the y-intercept. Slope is negative 1, and the y-intercept is 0, 2. Again, we will start with the y-intercept. Let's do green. We haven't done green. Okay, so I'm starting at 0, 2. And then rise 1 over to the left 1. And we can actually also go the other direction. So down 1 and to the right 1. Down 1 to the right 1. I'm not going to draw the line this time because I want to check the interval before I actually draw it. Okay, so we can only graph x greater than 1. So here's 1, and we're going to graph this way. And I believe that 1 was excluded, if I remember correctly. Let me see. Yes. So we don't want to include 1. So we actually have an open circle here. And then our line looks like so. Okay. And there you have it. There is our part B, or the graph of our part B. Now we're ready to write the domain and range for this piecewise function. And the domain is, the smallest thing x could be is negative 2. And it goes all the way to infinity because at x equals 1, we have a function. It's defined at 5. Excuse me. And our range is from negative infinity. And notice it stops, our graph stops at 4. So we're going to stop there, but we also have to include that 5. Since 5 is a number by itself and it's not an interval, we're going to use braces. Okay, and that's it. I'm going to zoom out a little bit so you can see the entire thing. Again, if you have questions, you can write them on in the discussion board in Canvas. For the next part, I'm not going to do an example because we've already done these in section 1.3 where we did increasing, decreasing functions. But just a little reminder, if a function is increasing, then that means the slope of the function is what? If you said positive, you are correct. And if a function is decreasing, then the slope is negative. And just a picture. There's my positive slope. There's my negative slope. So this function is always increasing and this function is always decreasing. I'm going to end here. I don't want to make the videos too long so that you don't have trouble, or I don't have trouble uploading them. But if you want to see more examples, you can always contact me. And thank you everybody for adapting to our new situation, and please stay healthy.